Good? Okay, I'd like to call this pre-town meeting of the Templeton Advisory Board for the special town meeting on 15 January to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, before we begin, I'd like to take an end-up. We had a recent passing for a long-standing citizen,
Okay.
Wilfred Dennis.
Okay.
Wilfred Bumsey Dennis, a veteran, longtime citizen in his community, a teacher in a Narragansett school system for many years, and most recognized by a lot of the past students, as well as a past assessor for the town for many years, and somebody that I knew and was very proud to take an end up knowing, because he was a gentleman, very soft-spoken, and he always had the town's best interest at heart and the people. So I'd like to have a minute of silence in remembrance of
Okay.
him, if you would,
Can we
please.
take a moment of silence for Mr. Dennis?
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, no, of course, absolutely. So we're here to, for their special town meeting is the 15th. There's one article. It was a petition brought by citizens, I believe. I'll make sure I quantify that correctly. It's about solid waste management. I don't know, the way this is written, I don't know what is changed and what isn't. But I make a motion to not read the entire, I think we can talk about what the gist of what it is, but it's a bit, essentially, do you want me to read the article?
Not too long.
Huh?
It isn't that long, is it?
No, it's a couple paragraphs, but I don't know what I'd rather do. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll just read it. I'll just
Good to
read it.
read it, because
Okay,
people-
so this is to amend the town bylaw, Article 1 of solid waste management, to see if the town will vote to adopt the following bylaw. Solid waste management, 1, for the benefit of the community and in the best interest of the health and welfare of the people of Templeton, the sanitary landfill on Route 202 Templeton shall be used only by residents, commercial business and industries located within the geographical limits of the town of Templeton. Now, that was passed in 5/10/75 and approved by the Attorney General in 1975. Number 2, notwithstanding said limitations, individuals and/or businesses, upon application and issuance of a waiver by the Templeton Board of Health, may use the sanitary landfill for garbage and/or refuse of residents, commercial businesses, and industries located within the geographical limits of the town of Templeton. Excluded shall be, number 3, excluded shall be the transportation of garbage refuse from out-of-town areas to Templeton landfill and/or other properties in the town of Templeton. Number 4, the RCRA states that solid waste means any garbage or refuse sludge from a wastewater treatment plant, water supply treatment plant, or an air pollution control facility, and other discarded material resulting from industrial, commercial mining, and agricultural operations, and from community activities. Nearly everything we do leaves behind some kind of waste. The terms garbage and refuse shall be included, but not limited to waste, wastewater sludge, medical waste, hazardous waste, nuclear waste, trash, biomix, polymers, industrial waste. Number 5, furthermore, paper sludge in any form, including but not limited to biomixes with biosolids, shall not be a means of reclamation for erosion control or any other purpose in any gravel pits or sites in the town of Templeton in need of reclamation. And RCRA is Resource Conservation Recovery Act. The petition is 255 citizens is what they had for signatures. Do we have anybody in the audience that wants to make any comments on it?
It said
Could
amend.
you just,
Oh.
could you say who you are? And
My name's Pete Farrell, 24 Myrtle Street. I think it starts off saying amend, and I think we'll all agree that there's a little confusion exactly if it's being amended or reestablished. With the red line codification, whatever became of the bylaw in the first place is still in doubt. So, but I think that can be done on town meeting floor.
Right, so the way I looked at it was, the portion that was really being put back in was taken out somehow, don't know how. And so that, an amendment to a current bylaw, not really the bylaw itself is already there, it's just not as complete as it used to be. So I believe that the intent of the petition is just to get that, especially number 5 back.
So your belief is that the town attorneys say that in fact is true, that the bylaw never really went anywhere?
They haven't commented to us at
Haven't
all.
comment. And their last comment was with a conversation, I believe, by phone with our town administrator. So there's nothing in writing. I'm just making this comment that we don't know what happened to that. It may be an amendment, but we may have to reestablish the bylaw. I'm just putting that out there. I
The
don't
version
know.
I'm looking at says adopt.
Adopt.
So it doesn't say amend, it says adopt. So
Okay, that's
this
the
could be a
yeah.
case of
Yeah,
one
right.
version on one spot and a subsequent version in a different spot or
I
whatever.
don't know why you couldn't do both.
Yeah.
Adopt, amend, reestablish.
Yeah.
Cover all the bases.
Well, I think council will be there.
Yeah.
They're always there the night of the meeting, so.
I think what you have is you kind of have a little bit of everything here, because I think that the solid waste management bylaw is still there. It's the bottom area where they were talking about the paper sludge, et cetera, was taken out. And my belief is the petition is trying to put that back in.
I thought that garbage and refuse covered what we needed in the first place, but then with the conversation on the phone, that may or may not have taken place. I don't know if there's any kind of a written opinion from town attorneys. I don't think we've got that.
I don't think there is I haven't seen an opinion, I've just
I
seen a
haven't seen that.
rewrite of the bylaw.
Okay, so,
Any committee members have any comments?
Well, I think clarity at any rate is a wonderful thing, especially in the current temperature of today's political climate and world. It's always nice to have clarity. So to add number 5 or whatever it is to make it clear, whether it's an adopting or an amending, to me doesn't matter. I just think it needs to be super clear, and this is much clearer.
I think as long as we don't lose the original, if in fact we still have it.
Right.
If we don't lose the original bylaw, I think that was still in better shape than certainly not having anything at all. Having that solid waste added in there, and the other wording, the other verbiage.
Yeah, my understanding was that wording kind of went away, and people want it back, and
Well, that's what we were told, but I called down to the Worcester local division, and they said if it wasn't voted on to be taken out, then it was the lawyer down there, it was her opinion that it was still there.
yeah,
We didn't vote
right,
to take
yeah,
it
I mean,
out.
you have to, but
It has to be action.
Yeah, it wasn't there. It wasn't crossed out in the red line section of the Article 15, I think, was it Article 15 at the end? I forget, but. Or,
yeah, I don't.
you know, dead horse here.
My only comment, and it's partially off of watching the Board of Selectmen meeting last night, kind of confirmed what I was thinking, that, you know, if we get this back on, however it comes on, adopted, amended, whatever the deal is, we get this back on, we're gonna have to, let's say, amend whatever we put on too, because it has, you know, issues there relating to a dump that we don't have anymore, and so on and so forth. So we'd probably wanna make it more relevant to today, rather than dealing with something we don't have anymore.
So if you look at number
That's all.
5, because the first 4 really kind of address the landfill on 202, But number 5 also talks about any gravel pits or sites in Templeton in need of reclamation.
That's what I'm saying, you know, that's really the most relevant
Right.
today portion of it, and parts that reference the dump might be less relevant or irrelevant, or, you know, may still need to be there, I don't know.
Let me see if I can.
Let me say this, as a person that's been in this community for quite a while, and for those of you that may or may not remember this, there was the Battle of the Bales. I was one of the members that ended up being on that and fighting against it. That was when medical waste was coming down Hubbardston Road and going to the junkyard, Hutchinson's junkyard, and being put there. Medical waste, by the way, along with all of the rest of this, is what that bylaw was put in, because we also had at that particular time, and I'm certain that we're probably in the future, we don't wanna end up having anything put in, either the present dump that we have or future dumps that will be hazardous to the groundwater of this community. Now, also, as a former member of the Conservation Commission for a number of years, let me give you some real good advice here, is that if you have a well within 1 mile of where any hazardous waste is put, you can end up having your groundwater or your well contaminated. Why? Because there's such a thing as they call, it's a cone of depression, that your well can pull water from as much in the groundwater supply as much as a mile away, if not more. And oh, by the way, that medical waste was deemed by the DEP to be buried because they didn't feel that it was significant enough to end up contaminating the water. Well, we'll find that out in the next couple of years. I've been concerned about this for a number of years, about my well, and I've looked at my well over time to take and end up making sure that I don't have anything in that well. Up to this time, I've been lucky, because I'm within the 1 mile, or just on the skirts of that 1 mile. So I'm truly for this, because I pushed for the original amendment to the bylaws to have medical waste and such, and we thought that would take care of it. I was very disappointed, along with a lot of these folks, that they can end up seeing that they just forgot or deleted a number of bylaws without consulting anyone as to the pertinence today.
Okay, but let's just focus on.
Well, I'm
this
talking
one.
about it.
But you're talking in general, so just please keep
Right.
focused on this current one.
And
That's what the
in
special
general,
town
is
meeting's
this
for.
bylaw was, nobody even asked what the impact would be as to what the community was trying to do then and going forward. That passed substantially as a bylaw. And I'll be the first one to take it and up, and I know that you have said that you don't think that the advisory can make a recommendation.
No, we
And I'm going to
can.
end up saying that we can.
No, we
And-
can make a
And my recommendation is that we should end up having a yes vote on this article because of the impact it has to the overall community and the citizens of this community.
Okay,
Pete Farrell, 24 Myrtle Street. Just, beside, Bob, you mentioned the, looking at taking the landfill on 202, taking that kind of out of the equation, but sometimes these big dump firms, they show up and they buy up the old landfill, and that's where they put their new landfill. They dig everything up, go down deeper, and
Right, but I guess my reference was basically, if you said no refuse from, anywhere in town, that covers the dump too. And that seems to be the gist of
well, something to look at.
the entire, right, that's all I'm saying, I'm not coming
Gotta
up
be
with
very
solutions.
careful with the
I'm just-
wording, Bob. It's-
I'm not coming up with
And
solutions.
I hear
Will.
what you're saying,
Yeah.
but we gotta be very, very, as a community, we have to be very, very careful as the wording, because here we are sitting years later,
Right,
and now we have a situation that 200, and I'm really surprised that we don't have more participation, and thank you, Mr. Farrell, for coming.
Yeah, it was,
There should have been more people, as 200 people signed this.
yep.
Brought all
And
my
may-
friends with me.
And maybe they will, at the special town meeting, they'll choose to speak there, which is certainly their prerogative. Obviously, this is an important issue, and I think you kind of follow some things. But I really would have liked someone here representing this to say, yeah, this is how we want it written, or is there gonna be amendment, you know? Okay. Any
I was
other
gonna say,
comments?
and the only comment I'm gonna just flat out make, is that for nothing else, I think this should be, approved, is simply because it should be there already.
I agree.
So I don't think it's, you know,
Okay.
it's a big quiz.
Okay, Amy, any other comments?
No, I don't have anything else.
You have a motion before you, Mr.
No,
Chairman.
You said you were going to, but you didn't actually officially make it.
Okay, I'll make that as a motion then.
Okay, please do, make it, say it again.
I'll make a motion to have a yes recommendation for this particular article.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a recommendation that the committee, recommend to the citizens that they vote yes for this. So just to be clear, we can make recommendations on citizens petitions, that's, I think it depends on which ones they are. So in this case, Bob,
Yeah.
Amy,
Yes.
Will,
Yes.
and I'm yes too. Any other comments?
I would just like to thank you. I've always looked at the advisory board as being the board that represents the citizens, and that's, they kind of, are to keep, you know, I look at for checks and balances in things, and I always thought the advisory board is a check on other boards.
Totally agree with you.
Well, I agree with that too, 100%. It's just sometimes some of the petitions,
Yes, yes.
I really need, for me personally, I need a for and against, argument because you just, you know, if you have someone that says, oh, I'm all for this, I'm all for this, I'm all for this, but if, it's nice to have a counterpoint to that, cause they may bring things up. So, any other comments? Then I will adjourn the, special town meeting, I'm sorry, the pre-town meeting for the special town meeting, and,
I'll make a
remind-
motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah,
Second.
thank you. Okay. All in favor?
Here.
All right. You in favor?
Yes.
All right. We're adjourned.